Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. Looks like winter has finally arrived in Ukraine. Check out what the highway outside the city of Odessa currently looks like. The weather looks absolutely brutal. So of course, because it's cold, dark, and snowing, Russia views this as a golden opportunity to once again target Ukraine's civilian energy infrastructure. Russia launches largest mass drone attack on Ukraine yet. Ukraine reported considerable success against Russia's most intense drone onslaught of the war, but there are fears of much more to come. According to Ukraine's Air Force, they successfully shot down 74 out of 75 of these Iranian Shahed drones. So more than likely, this was the initial volley, and Russia has many more missiles and drones saved up that they're going to use this winter. This initial wave was, as you can see, all drones except one missile. Russia is probing. They want to expose the location of Ukraine's air defense systems. They want to test their strength, test their reaction time. So they're sending the junk first, but their better, more capable missiles will be launched later this month. Here's a video put out by Ukraine's Ministry of Defense showing what their anti-aircraft guns look like shooting down these Iranian drones. Ukraine has had a year now to accumulate as many of these AA guns as they can get. It's always better to shoot down one of these drones with an anti-aircraft gun rather than an expensive Patriot missile. So Ukraine's doing their best to spread these out across the country, track the drones, and then try and shoot them down rather than exposing the location of one of their top-tier launchers. And there's more videos online. This is a video put out by The Sun, so I'm sure it's copyrighted. And I'll link it down below if you want to see it. This is what the air defenses of Kyiv currently look like, if you want to see a live view from the capital city. This clip is about 1 minute and 40 seconds long. So what was Russia's big military success from the night? They successfully blew up a kindergarten. This is a Ukrainian kindergarten teacher showing her neighbors the damage to her building.
Це ваша група була, да?
Да, столько лет работала.
Як група називалась?
Сонечко.
Вже тварі, просто...
Все хорошо, Оля, зараз наведемо порядок, все буде хорошо. Всі живі, всі здорові, ну чого ти? Ну все, я знаю, що все життя тут. Посуда, ну буде нова, буде ще краще.
Russia can achieve no military victories on the battlefield. All they can do is launch missiles and drones and attack civilians. This is what they show their people to say they're making progress in this war. So Ukraine responded, and I think Ukraine also has been saving up their missiles and drones. Ukraine announced several months ago that they would increase their drone production by over 100 times. And I myself was curious. I was thinking, where are all these Ukrainian drones that they've been producing? And I think Ukraine has made a political decision to not attack Moscow or inside Russia proper until Russia did this. The Ukrainians were waiting for the Russians to launch their own drone and missile attack on the capital city of Kyiv. so they could then respond proportionately. Moscow's international airports are forced to close down anytime Ukrainian drones enter the capital region. We don't really have any good pictures or videos if these Ukrainian drones successfully hit anything, but you can definitely see from this video, there's no sound, but CCTV video across Russia is capturing explosions. I'm shocked how many Russian cars have car alarms. So let's now switch over and talk about the military map. The city of Avdiivka continues to hold, and Putin really wants this city. At some point in December, he still has to announce his re-election campaign. He's going to do this end-of-the-year marathon press conference. He wants something positive to talk about concerning the battlefield. So yes, the Russians have managed to advance about 1 kilometer or 2 in the north, gobbling up some empty fields. But when it comes to making progress in the city of Avdiivka, or the chemical plant to the north, Russia has not advanced now in about 2 weeks. And the casualties that the Russians have sustained are mind-boggling. Trucks full of wounded, Russian soldier reveals huge casualties in Avdiivka. The assault failed, everyone was killed, the soldier says in an intercepted call, describing overflowing hospitals and troops lying without arms or legs. Lots of pictures and videos on Telegram and Twitter showing the horrors of the mass casualties the Russians are currently sustaining in Avdiivka. Way worse than Bakhmut ever was. Like a zombie movie, Russia launches third wave of attacks on Avdiivka. Fields are littered with corpses as Moscow stages massive infantry assaults on the pivotal Ukrainian stronghold. Is Avdiivka really pivotal? I'll debate that, but yes, this is the hot zone at the moment. And here's a video I'm going to link down below. It's graphic. Caution. But it's a video of 2 Russian soldiers captured on drone footage attempting to assist a wounded comrade. These 2 Russian soldiers then just give up on him, and they drop their tarp where they're using to carry him, and he's still alive. You can see this Russian soldier pleading to be saved, and they just take off. They then sit down at a tree to relax for a second, and a Ukrainian drone blows one of them up. The remaining Russian soldier then picks up his weapon and starts trying to get out of there, going by the corpses of dozens of his comrades. To me, this is mind-boggling why any human being would tolerate this. Being given the command and the order to advance over the corpses of your fallen comrades. Bodies are not being cleared from the battlefield. Their humanity has been completely stripped. When I see this video, when I see these Russian soldiers fighting on the front lines, I don't view them as human anymore. To do what they're doing, the Kremlin has turned them into zombies, mindlessly advancing without any concern or consideration for their own lives. Yes, these men are fearing punishments if they don't follow orders, but at what point do you say enough is enough and you try to surrender? You try to escape to the other side. For the tens of thousands of Russian soldiers who have assaulted Avdiivka in the last 2 months, what's the casualty rate? It's got to be greater than 90%. What are the odds of your survival? I just don't understand it. So when we think about the losses that Russia took to take the city of Bakhmut, and the losses they're taking trying to get the city of Avdiivka, the pre-war population was like 30,000 people. How can you, as the Russian military, justify losing greater than 30,000 soldiers to take a mid-sized town of about 30,000 people? And this is Russia's stated objective, this dotted line. This is the boundary of the Donbas region. Russia is never going to quit until they get everything. but they don't have the men and the material to ever take the Donbass region. When you think about Avdiivka, every one of these cities over here is of a comparable size. Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, cities of close to or over 100,000 people. Same thing with Liman. Russia has no chance of ever militarily taking the Donbass region. The only chance that they can take this dotted line is through peace talks, negotiations. They just demand from the Ukrainians to abandon this territory, give them the borders of the Donetsk Oblast, and then stop attacking them. This is Russia's only chance. I don't know if Russia's military is just that incompetent, or if modern warfare has changed to the point where you can't advance, given artillery and landmines and drones. The war that Russia is trying to fight, a World War II style war, just might not be possible anymore in the year 2023. I hope this is a lesson that other dictators around the world are paying attention to. Russian troops plead for rotation after losing 3 companies from Ukrainian bridgeheads. The pleading from the Russian troops corroborates Ukrainian success in establishing bridgeheads south of Kherson and reveals a significant morale issue within the Russian ranks. So we're now switching to the other side of the war, and Ukraine continues to get men and material across the river, building up in this swamp area, these islands, doing probing activity to establish positions in the forested areas. So here's the village of Krinky. Ukraine is focusing on this village, and these are the Russian soldiers currently inside or outside the village of Krinky, begging for rotation. So this is a video from Dmitry at War Translated. I'll put the entire 2-minute and 40-second video down below. But let me read for you their opening statement. We are servicemen of the 26th Regiment, 2nd Battalion. We appeal to the Minister of Defense, Shoigu. We ask to look into the situation unfolding in Krinky. We were deployed here on the 30th of July, 2023. Still no rotation, not a single day off. Not a single day off for these men in Krinky in 6 months. We were deployed without ammunition, each had 4 to 6 magazines, some didn't even have armor. Our commander, call sign Zimei, his name is Zladko. He's a lieutenant colonel, I think. He put a huge C word on us. Our battalion commander is fighting for rotation. They won't let us rest. Yesterday, Zimei was forcing our battalion commander to deploy us to the islands. At the moment, the islands are taken by the Ukrainians, who can only be beaten out with fab bombs. But he wants to deploy us there. So these men are complaining because they're being told to push out from the village of Krinky into the islands, the swamp area, to clear it of Ukrainians. It's not going to go well. I don't think this is going to be a success. But these men are never going to be rotated. They're never going to get time off from the front lines, especially before Putin's re-election in March. It's all hands on deck. Everyone currently sitting in a trench is probably going to stay there for at least another 3 or 4 months until Putin is re-elected and then can announce a mass mobilization of 500,000 men, 1 million Russian men. How many of these men are still going to be alive 4 months from now? So Russia needs bodies in the short term, and just when you think you've heard it all, Russia surprises you with one more incredible story. Another Russian multiple murderer and cannibal released to fight for Putin. A 44-year-old man who was convicted for murder on 3 separate occasions posted pictures of himself in military uniform on social media to the horror of his victims, relatives, and neighbors. This is not Ukrainian propaganda. Ukraine is not making this up. These are Russians inside of Russia reacting to Russian social media. The families of the victims that this man killed in Russia are outraged that he's now wearing a Russian military uniform. Gorin from Aniva in the Sakhalin region carried out the murders of 4 people in 3 separate incidents between 2003 and 2012, after which he had eaten parts of one of his victims. So the upside to recruiting cannibals for your military is, with all these fallen Russian soldiers, he'll never go hungry. I don't even know how I joke about this. This is so disturbing, guys. But this is Russia. This is who the Russians really are. And we need to be having this conversation as a global society. Is it okay to have cannibals fighting in your military, invading your neighbor, who's just trying to defend themselves? Speaking of global conversations, victory in the Netherlands for Geert Wilders could spell trouble for Ukraine. With a far-right anti-EU stance, the victory of the Netherlands' new leader could mean an end of aid to Ukraine and an unprecedented obstacle for both the EU and its long-standing policies. According to the Dutch defense minister, far-right electoral win has me worried about support for Ukraine. I know I have a lot of Dutch viewers watching my videos, and I know if you watch my videos, you probably didn't vote for the PVV. If you're not familiar with how elections work in the Netherlands, you vote for a party based on how many seats the party is allocated. They have a list of candidates. Geert Wilder, I believe, is the leader of the PVV, which only got 23% of the votes. But they're the largest of all the parties. You can see they gained 20 seats at the expense of the VVD and D66. So Wilders has to form a coalition government in order to be prime minister. Other parties have to work with him to get, I believe, above 50%. So this isn't a done deal, but more than likely he will be the next prime minister of the Netherlands. And this is very concerning given his positions and his general support for Russia. Russian state TV hails Dutch far-right hardliners' election victory. Here's the clip on Russian state TV talking about this is great because Wilder will weaken the European Union, weaken NATO, weaken support for Ukraine, and far-right candidates across Europe are going to keep running on this platform of elect me and I'll make everything easy. All we have to do is stop supporting Ukraine, give Russia everything they want, and we can go back to business as normal. Who cares what the Russians do to Ukraine? Who cares what the Russians do to Moldova, the Baltics, maybe even Poland and Finland? To him, he's far enough west where it doesn't matter, he doesn't care. And this is going to be an uncomfortable conversation, but the Russians are weaponizing refugees. They're weaponizing Muslims. If you are Muslim and want asylum in the EU, all you have to do is get to Russia. And someone there has been paying for bus rides to get you to the EU border. So along the border with Belarus and, for example, Poland, or the border of Russia and Finland, they're dropping asylum seekers off to destabilize these countries, destabilize the EU. And I'm not a member of the European Union. I'm not European. But I think the way that asylum laws are written, there's no end here. There's no end to the amount of people living in impoverished and war-torn countries that if they can just make it to the EU, they can stay, they can start collecting benefits, they'll be taken care of. Morally, this is the right thing to do. I understand why asylum laws are the way they are. I want to support this. But what's the end goal? What does this achieve? Where does it end? Here's a graphic showing where will the next 1,000 babies be born. So based on the global population and birth rates of the next 1,000 babies born, only 6 will be German, only 5 will be British, only 2 will be Spanish, 47 will be Pakistani, 172 will be Indian, 57 will be Nigerian. So the countries that are the least stable often have the highest birth rates. So when you let people in, I understand the economic positives of taking in migrants and asylum seekers. Europe is not having enough children to replace their own aging population. Immigration is the solution, which is why it's so widely supported, for example, by the business community. But Putin and the Russians, the Chinese will do it too, the Iranians will do it. They're using refugees as a weapon to weaken the European Union, weaken NATO, elect these far-right leaders who have insane ideas because they want to weaken the asylum and immigration laws. I don't have an answer. I don't have a solution for you. But this is a conversation that we need to honestly have in the West concerning our immigration and asylum laws, because authoritarians and dictators are now using it to destroy us. It's concerning. Good news for Ukraine. German ambassador states that a new Patriot air defense system will arrive this winter. I believe the United States is also sending an additional one. If my math is correct, hopefully sometime this winter, Ukraine will have 5 Patriot air defense systems in service. That's incredible. Switzerland announced a humanitarian aid package worth 103 million euros. Thank you so much, Switzerland. Final couple feel-good clips. The first one is the birthday of a Ukrainian defender.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Joker, happy birthday. Що гроші?
О, давай по новой.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Joker, happy birthday to you.
And I wish this defender many more birthdays to come. Final clip I have for you is the Ukrainian defender singing the song Red Viburnum in the Meadow.
Чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, аби нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо.
That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.